Fair use.
And in Germany, a new wave of discontent is sweeping through the agricultural landscape. Farmers are taking to the streets expressing their concerns over government budget cuts. The president of the Munich-based IFO Institute has raised alarm bells, stating that these cuts will impose a noticeable burden on farmers. Listen to what he had to say.
Yes, the burden is already relatively high. So if we look at the gross value added in agriculture, it's around 20 billion. And if we are now saying that we are talking about a burden of 1 billion, then we are talking about 5% of gross value added. If now we extrapolate this to other sectors, then it is clear that this is completely disproportionate. Nowhere is it written that cuts in such a package have to be evenly distributed. That has to be negotiated politically. But it is clear that this was a noticeable burden.
Farmers argue that the existing plans, saving them approximately 900 million euros annually, could potentially force them out of business. Chancellor Olaf Scholz's government is compelled to make billions in savings for 2024 budget following a court ruling that overturned previous spending plans, creating a financial hurdle that now threatens the backbone of the nation's agriculture. Economy Minister and Vice Chancellor Robert Habeck acknowledges the necessity of an ad hoc savings, emphasizing the immediate need for the government to save billions of euros.
Because of the cost pressure, we in the German government have shown goodwill to the farmers. We will keep an essential part of the subsidies being discussed now, the tax exemption for agricultural vehicles, and the step-by-step subsidy cuts for agricultural diesel. That way, it will be more fair. However, we can't do without it altogether. The pressure to save following the Constitutional Court's ruling exists. We were forced to save billions of euros ad hoc.
The standoff intensifies as the farming community, facing economic strain, demands reconsideration of the proposed budget cuts.
Okay, let's go to check what's on Twitter, because on Twitter they're showing more about what's going on, how these farmers are. Let's just say they're standing on business. Let's just put it that way. Okay, all right. All right, here we are. Now the German farmers, all part of a slow peasants' revolt against our oppressors. Many still do not recognize that it's happening, but bit by bit, the agenda is being slowed and halted. Let's take a look. Wow, they really just they're gonna have to take things seriously with these farmers, because without no farmers, you're not gonna have any food. All this time wasted. But you want to try and tax people and stuff, and you know what's gonna happen? The elites are gonna have their food, All right, that's what's going to happen. The elites will have their food. Everybody else, they're going to try to starve out and say it's in the name of climate change. All right, that's what they're doing. Here, let's see a clear picture here now. All right, a little longer. Okay. German farmers' massive protest tractors flood Berlin streets, challenging government's subsidy cuts, a historic push in the heart of Europe. Like I said, the standing on business right here. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. People got to stand up to these madmen in power. All right. Farmers in Germany have blocked motorway slip roads, and snarled traffic elsewhere with their tractors amid a week of protests against a government plan to scrap tax breaks and diesel used in agriculture. Images shared on social media showed horrendous traffic jams clogging up roads in several German cities, and a line of dozens of tractors blocked the main avenue leading to the Brandenburg Gate. Production at a Volkswagen car plant in Edmund in northwestern Germany has been stopped because the employees could not get to work. And protesters last week blockaded a port, preventing Vice Chancellor Robert Habeck from disembarking in a ferry as he returned from a personal trip to an offshore island. Chancellor Olaf Scholz, unpopular three-party coalition, infuriated the farmers last month by drawing up plans to abolish a car tax exemption for farmer vehicles and diesel tax breaks. The government on Thursday climbed down partially, saying that the car tax exemption would be retained and the cuts in the diesel taxes breaks would be staggered over 3 years. But German Farmers Association said this was not enough and insists the plans must be reversed fully if the government wants to avoid demonstrations. Meanwhile, train drivers are set to strike in a row over pay, compounding German Chancellor Olaf Scholz's woes as his government faces a winter of discontentment in a troubled economy. Doctors, meanwhile, could walk out again after a week of strikes over Christmas and New Year. Okay. The one things you don't play with the agriculture, you don't play with medicine, you don't play with things that are the heart and lifeblood of your country, which is agriculture, medicine, and transportation, and law enforcement. You don't play with those things. Okay? At all. Joachim Rücki, the head of German Farmers Association DBView, asked the public for sympathy in an interview published on Monday. Hey, don't give them no sympathy. Keep your foot on their neck. We do not want to lose the support and solidarity we have received from large parts of the population, he told Stern magazine, but said the farmers will not accept the planned tax hikes for the agricultural sector. He also warned against far-right activists using the protests to further their own aims, a concern shared by Interior Minister Nancy Faeser, who said authorities were monitoring the situation. It comes as Germany's populist Alternative für Deutschland, AfD, party seeks to capitalize on the discontentment, launching a social media campaign that paints a picture of ordinary people being driven into ruin by irresponsible political leadership like in the Middle Ages. It has called for German citizens to go on general strike to voice their displeasure with Scholz's coalition. while his supporters have begun sharing graphics and AI generated images of farmers' tractors descending on Berlin. Come to Berlin and chase away the traffic light. Germany is turning blue. One such slogan shared on social media said in reference to the AFD's colors. After eventually disembarking from his blockade ferry last week, Vice Chancellor Hesselbeck said, "It makes me thoughtful, yes, even concerned that the mood in the country is heating up to such an extent. Germany's ailing economy is experiencing a turbulent start to the year amid nationwide farmers' protests. The economy, Europe's biggest, was also the weakest among its large Eurozone peers last year, as high energy costs, feeble global orders, and record high interest rates take their toll." The government then suffered a huge blow in November when Germany's top court threw out its 2024 budget plans, forcing divisive political wrangling over how to fill a 17 billion euro funding gap. The ill-fated plan to scrap tax exemptions for farming vehicles was one proposed solution. That was not a smart idea. Not one at all. But that's it. That's all I have for now. Let me know, what is your thoughts on Germany and these cuts and how the farmers are revolting? Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea? Other than that, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Later.